Welcome to another Explainer. Today, we're tackling the absolute ultimate gym dilemma. If you're a fitness enthusiast, a bodybuilder, or honestly just someone who loves hitting the weights hard, you've definitely wrestled with this frustrating problem. You want huge, massive arms, but every time you focus on heavy lifting, your core kind of thickens up, leaving you looking blocky instead of aesthetic. So how do you get those cannonball arms without sacrificing that perfect tapered V shape? It feels like you have to choose one or the other, right?
Well, let's start with a really provocative question. Can you actually build massive head-turning arms while maintaining a tiny waist? Or is that just some fitness myth sold to us by genetics? So many people just give up on the V-taper. They accept a thick, blocky midsection because they assume that lifting heavy enough to build 20-inch biceps absolutely requires a massive powerlifter-style core. But is that actually true? Today, we're diving deep into some cutting-edge biomechanics and neuromuscular science to find out exactly how you can hack this process.
Section 1. The Canon and Canoe. Let's dive right into this by exploring one of the most famous adages in strength training, which perfectly frames our entire problem.
You can't fire a cannon from a canoe. In the world of biomechanics, this metaphor is absolutely foundational. Just imagine, for a second, lighting a massive, incredibly heavy iron cannon while it's sitting inside a tiny, wobbly wooden canoe floating in the water. Yeah, it's going to be a complete disaster. The recoil will instantly flip the boat. Translated to the gym, your core is the canoe. It has to be incredibly stable to handle the explosive power and heavy loading of your limbs, which act as the cannon. If your core is too thin to support the load, well, the physics simply refuse to work in your favor.
And here's exactly what happens scientifically when you try to force it. If your base is wobbly, you suffer from what biomechanics call energy leaks. We've all seen this guy at the gym doing the classic cheat curl, right? He's standing up, holding way too much weight, leaning back, swinging his hips, basically turning a bicep isolation movement into a full-body lower back dance. When you do that, the mechanical tension you're trying to generate never fully reaches your biceps and triceps. That force is entirely absorbed by your wobbly base. Your form breaks down, your joints take a beating, and ultimately your potential muscle gains are completely wasted.
Moving on to Section 2, the brain's safety switch. It turns out, this isn't just a basic physics problem. It's actually a neurological one, where your brain actively sabotages your arm gains.
The scientific term for this is intracortical inhibition. Basically, this is your central nervous system's built-in, non-negotiable safety switch. When your brain detects that your core is unstable, like balancing that heavy cannon on a canoe, it goes into pure survival mode. Its primary directive is to protect your spinal cord at all costs. So it forcefully cuts the power to your peripheral limbs to keep your spine from snapping under the load. Your brain literally will not allow you to recruit 100% of your arm muscle fibers if it thinks your lower back is in any kind of physical danger. Crazy, right?
We can actually look at this through the hypertrophy equation, which researchers use to model exactly how muscles grow. Hypertrophy, or muscle growth, is directly proportional to mechanical tension, which just means lifting heavy weight, and metabolic stress, which is that burning pump you feel at the end of a hard set. But there's a really critical third factor multiplying all of this, the mysterious letter N.
That N stands for neural drive. To keep it super simple, you can think of neural drive as your brain's official permission slip to let your muscles contract at their absolute maximum capacity. If N is high, your muscles are firing on all cylinders. This is that perfect mind-muscle connection you feel on a really great day at the gym, where every single ounce of effort goes directly into squeezing the bicep.
But here is the incredibly frustrating kicker. If your core is unstable and that intracortical inhibition kicks in, your brain panics. That N value suddenly drops from a perfect 1.0 down to 0.5 or even lower. This means no matter how heavy the dumbbell is, your actual muscle growth stimulus is literally cut in half. You're putting in 100% of the sweat, you're giving 100% of the effort, but your nervous system is actively robbing you of half your gains right there on the gym floor. No way around it.
Which brings us to Section 3, the external stability loophole. So, the absolute crucial question becomes, how exactly do we bypass the brain's stubborn safety switch without forcing our core to become thick and blocky?
Well, the answer is the ultimate bodybuilding loophole, external stability. Internal stability relies entirely on your own thick core muscles to brace and balance. But external stability? That involves using the environment around you, benches, padded supports, and machines to lock your body firmly into place. Going back to our core metaphor, using external stability is like securely tying your little wooden canoe to a massive solid concrete dock. Your core no longer has to do any of the balancing work. Whether you're locking your chest into a T-bar row machine or pinning your arms to a preacher curl bench, the equipment takes over the stabilization. The brain relaxes, and a Swiss stays at a perfect 1.0, and your arms get the full, unadulterated growth stimulus.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point. A fascinating Brazilian study compared arm muscle growth between a heavy compound exercise, the standing dumbbell row, and an externally stabilized isolation exercise, the standard seated bicep curl. The heavy compound lift, which taxed the core immensely, forced the brain to hold back, and the result? Only about 5% bicep growth. But directly isolating the biceps using external stability bypassed that intracortical inhibition entirely, yielding over double the growth at a staggering 11%. Because the core wasn't forced to work overtime just to keep the spine safe, the brain allowed maximal recruitment. So, if a small waist is the limiting factor for you, external isolation is for sure your golden ticket.
Now, let's hit Section 4, Golden Era Bodybuilding Secrets. Let's take a look at the historical legends of the sport, who completely mastered this exact scientific loophole long before the clinical data was ever published.
Take Sergio Oliva, famously and appropriately known as the Myth. He possessed mind-bending 22.5-inch arms. Just to put that into perspective, his arms were literally larger in circumference than his own head. Insane. Yet, he paired them with a tiny, incredibly aesthetic 27-inch waist. So how did he defy physics? He utilized heavy external stability. He spent a massive amount of his training time locked securely into preacher curl benches, bypassing his core entirely so his brain would enthusiastically let him push his biceps to the absolute maximum limit.
Then there's three-time Mr. Olympia Frank Zane, who proved you don't even need 20-inch arms to look incredibly huge. You just need to master proportion. This is all about visual contrast. If your waist is small enough, a lean 16-inch arm can easily look like an 18-inch arm. A smaller, tighter midsection acts as an optical illusion that visually multiplies the size of everything attached to it.
Zane absolutely perfected the mathematical golden ratio. He did this by utilizing highly specific exercises like the ab vacuum. Instead of doing thousands of heavy weighted crunches that build thick, blocky six-pack bricks on the outside of your stomach, the vacuum tightens the deep transverse abdominis. It essentially pulls your midsection in tight, kind of like a natural corset. This mathematical secret, combined with built-out shoulders and well-developed arms, created a dramatic V-shape illusion that made his physique legendary, all without relying on massive shear mass.
Finally, Section 5, 4 steps to massive arms. Let's turn all of this complex science and history into a highly actionable 4-step gym blueprint you can use right away.
Okay, Step 1, use external stability for your arm days. Stop standing up for every single curl and tricep extension. Lock yourself into a preacher bench, a chest-supported row, or a specialized machine so your core can totally relax. Step 2, focus on your inner core. Swap out the heavy weighted side bends for ab vacuums and high-tension planks. This builds a tight inner core that protects your spine without adding bulky inches to your waistline. Step 3, isolate the arms directly, from multiple angles using those machines to ensure maximum neural drive. And Step 4, optimize visual contrast. Hit your lateral raises hard to widen those side delts and keep your body fat relatively low. Broad shoulders above a tiny waist will make your arms pop instantly.
But hey, a quick word of caution as you apply this. You have to leave your ego at the door. Nobody wants to see that weird lower back dance during a heavy standing curl. If you feel lower back pain, your body is cheating. Switch immediately to a seated machine variation. If your hips are thrusting forward, drop the weight immediately. And crucially, if your shoulders start shrugging up toward your ears during a bicep curl, you aren't even working your biceps anymore. Your brain is just desperately trying to find a mechanical advantage because your core is failing. Use this checklist to stay honest, prevent cheating, and protect your spine from serious injury.
So, let me ask you, are you really training your arms, or are you just training your nervous system to hold you back? The next time you hit the gym, ask yourself, will you keep leaking energy and slashing your potential gains in half, or will you tie your canoe to the dock, bypass your core entirely, and unlock your true muscular potential? Apply the biomechanics of external stability and watch those arms grow. If you found this explainer helpful and want to keep optimizing your strength training with real science, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more gains. See you next time.